Well, hello, people. Welcome to episode 3 of How's Your Lockdown Hun? Sorry, we're a bit late. It is episode 3. It's our last episode tonight. And, of course, I have saved the bestest until lastest, who's been messaging me all day, panicking about what we're going to talk about, what we aren't going to talk about. I am joined by my gorgeous, amazing childhood friend, Westend star, sensation. I don't even know how to
keep going.
Keep going. I keep fluffing it up for you. Shona White is here, or as otherwise knowing on social media, Singing Haggis, and the accent will make it clear why she just calls herself that. Hello, Shona.
Hello, Scott. How are you doing?
I'm good. Well, you know. Let's not go there. Let's not go there.
Let's not start on a Debbie Downer.
Exactly, yeah. How are you, more at the point? You're here to chat.
Well, I'm here, which is a good thing.
It is a good thing.
Yes, I am surviving. I might not be completely thriving, but I'm surviving. Yeah. That's what I call this, surviving, not thriving. Riding the Corona coaster. Is what I'm doing, and have been doing for a long time, as we all have. I was
going to say, it's like having a break from like normal life, isn't it? You know, we're just kind of plodding along in this little world, in this little bubble. And
what is even normal? What is even normal life? Like when we get back to normal life, are we going to remember what it was? Are we going to remember how to shake hands, how to hug, how to interact with people? I mean, it's just weird. It's just also weird. The world is upside down, isn't it? It's kind of bonkers.
Yeah, it is. So for those who don't know you, which I find very impossible because like people should know you, and if they don't, then shame on them. Just briefly introduce yourself to us.
So yes, my name is Shona. I'm an old friend of Scott's. We went to school together.
Can you stop using that word old?
Old. I'm probably old as an age, although I did have my first vaccination the other day, so apparently I'm in that bracket now. You'll be next, Scott. Oh, he's off on the wine already. So my name's Shona. I am a musical theatre actress. I have worked in musical theatre for over 20 years now. Yeah, I think my first job was 1998. So what's that? I'm terrible at maths. I was never good at maths at school. Long time. So over 20 years working as a performer. And obviously haven't been doing that lately because of the C words closing us down. Theatres were the first things to close down, and we will be the last to reopen. So it's been a challenging year, shall we say. So the 16th of March was our anniversary. I know that the UK had their anniversary. Was it yesterday?
Yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday.
Well, I wasn't marking that because for us in Theatreland it was the 16th of March. And I don't know if you know this, Scott, but I was working at the National Theatre in London on the day that we locked down, and it was actually my very first day of rehearsals.
No.
So I've worked in musical theatre for over 20 years, but I've always wanted to do a play. So with no singing, I've always wanted to do what they might call proper acting. So I'd always wanted to do a play, so I finally got one at the National Theatre, like one of the most prestigious venues in the world, you know.
Yeah.
I was so excited to start. And we started on the 16th of March, or I joined on the 16th of March. Some of the cast had already been going, but I started. My first day was the 16th of March, and we did a big meet and greet. There's always a meet and greet to get to know people. And the artistic director said usually there'd be many more people in the room. There can't be for obvious reasons. So welcome, but we're not sure if we will see you tomorrow kind of thing. So my first day at the Royal National Theatre was also to be my last, sadly. It's so surreal looking back at it because, you know, in that discussion that we had on that first day in the rehearsal studio at the National Theatre, we thought, oh, you know, we'll be back together in 3 or 4 weeks,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was the same everywhere in every sector. Yeah. So it's just so strange to think that we've been in this situation for so long. Who would have thought it would have gone on a year? I mean, when I marked the anniversary last week on the 16th, just unbelievable. It wasn't an anniversary I celebrated, let's put it that way.
Well, I mean, let's face it, given what's going on in the last year, it's not anything for anybody to celebrate, really, is it? You know, I guess it's remembering what's happened in the last year, and lots of sad stuff, obviously, with kind of your sector kind of coming to a complete halt, and then kind of some false starts in terms of reopening, because there was some kind of maybe will they, won't they, and then obviously the second wave. Because I don't live in the UK, we're on our third wave here. We're on our third wave here, so don't say that. But it's for because I was thinking about this earlier when I was thinking about my chatting to you, and I was thinking we went into lockdown here on the weekend before St. Paddy's Day, because obviously St. Paddy's Day is a massive thing in Ireland, and what they didn't want was lots of people coming together, so they locked it all down before that. So we are kind of a week before that, as I think it's a week, it might be 10 days, something like that. Anyway, that's semantics, but yeah, and just kind of these staggered will we, won't we, can we, should we, etc. I mean, it's been bloody hard, and I've got loads of questions for you, as in from me, not as a kind of podcast host. I'm kind of thinking about the Shona that I know. But the first question really I wanted to ask you was, in terms of that closure as a career for you and maybe your kind of your colleagues and stuff. I mean, you knew it happened, but what was the kind of wow moment? When did that hit you?
What do you mean?
Oh bugger! What is this? How is this? What is this going to mean for the future, etc.? You mentioned there about 2-3 weeks. Sorry,
I don't know if there's been an actual moment of realization, because I think what we've kept doing, and most people probably have done the same, you keep moving the goalposts in your head, So when the 2 or 3 weeks thing didn't happen, you're like, oh well, that's fine, I'll survive until the next goalpost. And unfortunately, potentially, it hasn't been managed as well as we might have wanted it to have been. I mean, I'm sorry, I wouldn't want to be in the government's position.
No, who would? Ooh,
of course not. But it's very easy for us to sit at home and go, well, I would have done it like this, I would have done it like that. That's ridiculous how he did it, how they did it. But yes, it has felt at times it's not been run particularly well, and that had we taken measures earlier, we might have been out of this already. But you can't change that. We can't change it. So I don't think there was a sudden moment where I went, oh God, this is really awful. This is the enormity of it all. I think it's just the relentlessness of it all.
Yeah.
That has kind of shown that, and taken its toll, if I'm honest with you. Because like you say, we have then been told, right, here's a carrot, you can open in December, and then theatres open up again and put loads of money into reopening and everything, and then, oh no, you shut down again. And so it's that constant waiting, not that uncertainty, and moving the goalposts and just having to keep going. It's just been relentless. So I think for me, there wasn't a single moment where I went, oh right, this is enormous. Yeah. Because, like I say, you have to have hope, and so you keep hoping and you keep moving the goalposts. Then it's changed again. I mean, I think at the moment, I'm not sure about you, how you feel about this, but I think at the moment we're all exhausted by it. I definitely think there is COVID fatigue. We're all just so tired of it. Zoom fatigue. We'd never even heard of Zoom before this. So yeah, I think we've kind of got to the point where we're just like, well, this is just the way it is. So you kind of just had to accept it. And now what's starting to happen is, hopefully, there are green shoots in the industry now that are hopefully now more realistic. With with the vaccinations, with all the measures that are in place, with the time that's passed, I don't know, it's hopefully more realistic with the opening dates. I mean, some of the West End shows are talking about opening May, June, July, some September. So hopefully that can happen, but who knows? That could all change again. And it's been a logistical nightmare and a financial nightmare. You know, financially, we've completely lost our livelihoods. We can't work from home. So whereas lots of people have either been able to transfer to working from home or have been at home on furlough, we haven't had that. I'm going to call it a luxury. We haven't had that luxury. We can't work from home. I mean, there's been a tiny bit of adapting and doing a few online things, but it's not the same. And we just can't do what we do at home.
Because of course, as a performer, I'm assuming that most of the time you're self-employed, aren't you?
We are self-employed.
Yeah, exactly. So that's really difficult.
Yeah, so that's been really hard. I have had some help, but some of my friends have had no help. And that's awful. That's heartbreaking. I mean, like I say to you, we are just surviving until our industry comes back. And some people will fall by the wayside and find other things to do. It's just about getting through it and finding ways to get through it so that when it comes back, we're still there, you know? And that's the hard thing, because I think there's been something in place financially for some buildings to stay there, but not anything for the people to still be there to work in those buildings. So I think, I'm not sure what it looks like to other people, but people out with my industry, I think maybe imagine that the money quoted by the government came to us. It didn't. You know, it goes to keep buildings open and surviving so that hopefully the industry will come back. But meanwhile, there's no workforce, you know. But it's a tricky one.
Yeah. But because I mean, I was going to say, because you're a patron, aren't you? Or patrons, should I say? Sorry, patron. That sounds so common. A patron.
Well, that sounds like Patron, which is tequila. That's a tequila, Scott. Patron.
Well, you're way more into these sorts of things than I am. But I was going to say, you're a patron, and I have had the luxury and the amazing experience of actually visiting the theatre that you're a patron of, and I think of them a lot because Jenna, the manager of that theatre, well, I mean, just the kind of the whole, you know, like you say, they're buildings, but they're buildings with such a massive, that have had such a massive impact on a lot of people's lives with all the kind of stuff that they put on, whether it's a play, whether it's a musical, it doesn't matter what it is. Like people, you know, people go to London to see these things, and that must have an impact on the people that are kind of trying to keep these places there, you know, to make sure that they're still there when all this happens. Is that your experience? I mean, I'm not asking you specifically to, you know, say on behalf of...
It varies from company to company and building to building. So a lot of companies have been able to take advantage of the furlough scheme. So it varies. So a lot of the workforces from these buildings are on furlough. And the buildings have been kept open. So it's the artists and the freelancers. So freelancers, not just the performers, you know, the backstage people, everyone, every department like that. You know, costume, wardrobe, lights, sound. These are all freelancers. So it's kind of a bit different for everyone. But I like what you said. Like, you know, people do go to London, especially to go to the theatre. People need these buildings. People need these shows and plays, and I think that as we start to come out of this, people will need it more. People will need art and culture more, you know, because we need that. We need it to feed our soul and to cheer us up. You know, I think what we all need at the moment is to be cheered up. You know, we just need. We need a big old party with our friends. We need to see our families and hug our families. And we need arts and culture and entertainment. We need music festivals. We need gigs. We need plays. We need musicals. I mean, I passed through London a couple of days ago, and it was heartbreaking. I went into Charing Cross and I passed through town, and it was absolutely a ghost town. And it's not just the theatres. It's all the restaurants and shops around all the theatres. And it's also not just in London, it's the regions, it's all over.
Of course. It's
all over the country. You know, the theatre feeds into so many other industries. And, you know, hospitality, as we know, is just, you know, struggled. But, you know, there are glimmers of hope now. You know, we do have dates, and fingers crossed that things will start to move now, you know, with restaurants and pubs being able to open like mid-April, whatever, outside, and bits and bobs of hospitality coming back. Then hopefully some shows and plays coming back June, July, August, through the summer. Fingers crossed. I mean, I've got music festival tickets booked for... Oh, is it August? I think it's August. I mean, who knows if it's going to happen?
I know.
As you know, everything was cancelled last summer, but there are glimmers of hope now. But you never know; it could all change.
No, you don't. No, exactly.
I think we've kind of accepted that now. So whereas before we were like just so frustrated at the fact it kept changing, now we've kind of gone, well, it could change. So we have to be prepared for every eventuality. It's been a massive lesson in resilience. I mean, we as actors already have built up loads of resilience because our industry is full of rejection. You know, we get rejection on like a weekly basis, sometimes daily, depends, you know, because it is oversaturated and it's very competitive. So we've already built up over the years as performers, we've already built up a supply of resilience. So that stood us in good stead as a little tool in our toolkit. But the supplies are now running low, but we know how to grab onto them, if you know what I mean. We know how to utilize those tools and just try to keep going. Because I mean, another thing like resilience, I think some of my friends who are not in the industry, who work in different sectors, they haven't ever had to be out of work or not be able to work. So it's been really interesting for me to see those people who have never struggled before suddenly having to learn resilience, you know, whereas we kind of had it already. So that has been handy to have, but it is running low now. It's been a real test, and I think, you know, financially, obviously, it's a huge test and almost impossible. You know, money doesn't grow on trees. We have definitely found that out now.
Definitely doesn't.
No, if it did, wee. But yeah, I think that financially it's been really tough, but also mental health. I get that. I'm a big advocate for mental health awareness in my industry and everywhere, actually. All parts of life and other sectors. I'm a big advocate for mental health awareness, and I actually took a course in Lockdown Hun to be a mental health first aider. It's always something I've been interested in, and I thought, right, I'm going to use my time. You know, don't get me wrong, sometimes I was lying on the sofa watching Netflix, but other time, you know, and drinking a bottle of Pinot Grigio and eating a pizza.
I'll take your tips about Netflix afterwards, because there's probably stuff that you've seen that I've not, and vice versa.
Probably. But then sometimes I was like, okay, let's use the time. So that was one of the things I thought, this is important. And so I think that I've seen a lot of people who perhaps never encountered poor mental health before suddenly encountering it, because their livelihood is taken away, what they do every day is taken away, their purpose is taken away, and they're like, you know, what do I do? So it's been so interesting to see people that have never ever encountered that in themselves. Very interesting. But yeah, our industry, certainly the mental health side of things is a challenge at the moment, and I think will be a challenge coming out of it as well. I don't really know what state everyone's going to be in. We're going to have to really take care of everybody and take care of each other. I know that sounds really corny, but
it's true, isn't it? You know, mental health is a big thing in our, like, in a number of sectors, including
everywhere.
Where you're saying, you know, I have personal experience of it. I think about, you know, my children when it comes to mental health, because obviously they sometimes struggle with it. And of course, there's something about the kind of we've had a comment, and it kind of made me tear up a little bit because it made me remember home. So we've had a comment from Mark Hinsher. So for those of you that don't know, Shona and I were, well, not necessarily born, but we were definitely brought up in a place called Markinch, Fife, in Scotland. So Janice Wilkie, who was actually the local paramedic or well, I think ambulance person would have been the name in the 80s. I don't know. She's a
Oh,
lot
right.
older than me and Shona. She'll hate me for saying that. But the Town Hall in Markinch, which is where a number of lovely shows have gone on, she said this should have been our show week here, but unfortunately we've missed another year. So that's the second year in a row. We can't wait to see all professional. We can't wait to see all professional and amateur companies treading the boards again. And I think we all feel like that, don't we? We definitely do. You know, whether it's amateur or professional, it makes you feel good. You know.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. People need it, and we will need it coming out of this. So
yeah, definitely.
Hopefully, it's starting to come back now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, last year, the last trip I made out of Ireland was last February, I think, and I went to see Pretty Woman with my friend in up London. I spent 2 nights, and that was the last time I've been away. So, like for me, the next time I'm going away is to go to London, and you know, well, maybe not the next time because it might be a while before I go back. But certainly, you know, lots of people saying the same thing: we need a break, we need some sun, we need this, we need that, we need the next thing. Whatever it is you need, you just need to soak it up when you can, and you know, let's just. Fingers crossed it'll come back quickly and safely for everybody involved.
I mean, that's a very good point. It has to be safe. You know, we're all desperately trying to do the right thing, or most of us are.
Majority, yeah.
And everything has to be safe. But you know, I believe that there are safe ways to do things, and I believe that we kind of eventually, because this isn't going away. Coronavirus is not going away.
Nope.
And we'll have different variants, etc. You know, because that's just what happens. I'm not a scientist, by the way. I didn't suddenly, qualify in lockdown too. No, but you know, I think at some point we have to just learn how to live alongside it, because we can't just keep shutting down and holding away in our houses, because it's just not good for anybody.
No,
it's just,
So the work bit aside, the last bit I want to cover with you really on the work side is there's a social aspect, because there's a lot. I mean, I've witnessed you socializing, love, and
I do know what you mean.
How has that hit you? Because that must be that. I mean, I'm being genuinely serious now. Whether it's the evenings or whatever, it doesn't matter. Like.
It's not so much the evenings, to be honest with you. Our theatrical community is a massive community, and we spend a hell of a lot of time with the same people in a very close setting. You know, we forge very close relationships with every cast that we work with. We are like one big family. So to have that access cut off is really hard. So of course we've not been able to see our families, our actual families, but we've also not been able to see our theatrical family. So it's a really strange one. I feel like it might be different than other sectors, because we don't just leave it at the door when we come home. You know, we don't leave things behind in the office. When we come home, it's a massive part of us. It's a massive part of our identity. So that's been another challenge, is, you know, resilience. Fine, we've talked about that. We built that up a wee bit so we can kind of draw upon that. But identity, what we do is a huge part of our identity. Like I say, we don't leave it at the office when we shut the door at 5 p.m. to come home to our loved ones and families. It's part of us. So for it to be taken away, there was a huge group of us going, well, who am I?
Yeah.
What else moves me? What else can I do? What can I do to fill my time? What is my purpose? That's been a really massive challenge, because it is a huge part of our identity and a huge part of our purpose to get up every day and go to rehearsals and then go to the theatre, to entertain people and to help people escape for a few hours, you know? So that's been a real challenge. And like you say, the community thing, the family thing, that's been really hard. I mean, great, we've got Zoom. And like I said, It did exist before this. Businesses were using it. We just hadn't heard of it. And now all of a sudden, everyone's using Zoom. And so it's been amazing to have that. But also at the same time, it can be also quite frustrating because it's not the same. And I do think you can get Zoom fatigue and screen fatigue. It's not the same as actually being with someone in person. You can't beat that. You can't. I'm a people person. I like to be with other people. You know, I've done a few online teaching things and taken courses myself, and it's just not the same. You can't. You can't get the same buzz and the same camaraderie. So that's been really hard. But at least there is I've tried all the way along to look for the positive. So at least we have got these kind of tools if we need them. You know, and you can choose to dip into them or not, because that's the other thing. Just because we've got all these things doesn't mean you should attend every Zoom quiz. You know, this is the thing. You know, because before this time, there's no way that I would have been at a quiz every Tuesday night. Do you know what I mean? Well, I would in the local pub. Anyway, but you know what I'm saying? You wouldn't suddenly be on an event every night. But
you wouldn't be attending 20 a week, would you? Let's face it. You'd maybe go 1 or maybe 2 a week if you were lucky. But
all of a sudden it was like bombarded. So I do feel like it's a really brilliant thing, but also at the same time it's like, right, calm down. And I do believe that, you know, it's okay to kind of pick and choose and not attend some things, you know. Oh look, I've seen a chat thing come up at the bottom. That's very clever.
No, I forgot to show it earlier. That's Janice's message. I
don't know what I'm talking about. I'm boring myself.
Well, no. So let's move on a little bit because obviously
I found my man.
What does that say? The show must go on. Oh, well done, you.
Yes, merchandise, raising money for acting for others. Yes, very good charity. Here we go. Just
you and your charities, honestly, you and your charities. No, you're fine. So let's move on a little bit then, because obviously the one thing that you've been on the podcast before as an adopted adult.
A long time ago.
Yeah, well, you say that. I mean, we've been going 4.5 years.
Wow.
I know. Yeah, well done us. They couldn't get us off the air. Sorry about that. Whoever complained. But the last time you were on, we had a lovely chat, although I was there, so I was kind of being a little bit kind of less thingy. But as an adopted adult then, do you think that there's been any kind of impact on you with all of this? Now, bearing in mind, it's been a while since we've chatted like this. It's also been a while since we've chatted like vocally. I know you've been up to stuff, etc. Oh, Al just commented and said, I heard that. Whatever. But tell me, sorry, like, has it had an impact on you, or is it really not even skipped the surface?
You mean the combination of being in
like
coronavirus and lockdown?
Yeah, and being kind of remote from family, friends, you know, the social, all that sort of stuff. I mean, like, if I don't know, give me a wee bit of a thing on there. I mean, if it hasn't, fine, we'll move on.
No. It's an interesting topic, and I think it's not a straightforward answer. It's something that you've provoked me to think about, because ultimately what we all want as humans is to belong somewhere. Okay. Yeah. So it has actually made me think, like, it's kind of, I think what lockdown has done, it's kind of given us all an opportunity to press pause, maybe reevaluate your life, or that, although that sounds quite dramatic, but just press pause and have some thinking time and have a look at things, and you know, have time to breathe and time to think about things that you maybe wouldn't ordinarily think of, because we're all just going to work. We're going to work, we're coming home, we're cooking the dinner, we're putting the kids to bed for you, not for me, but, you know, we've got our daily routines, work, sleep, eat, work. You know, we've got this purpose and this treadmill that we're on. And so I think if there's one positive, I mean, there are a few positives. You've got to look for the positives, I believe. Otherwise, I just don't know where I'd be. And don't get me wrong, I've had real lows. It has been like the Corona coaster. 1 minute I'm like, yeah, bam, 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 I'm positive, I'm doing this, I'm proactive. Next minute I'm literally just on the sofa in my pajamas, like I can't move. I'm like, no, I can't, got no motivation. Awful, life is awful. But what it has done is given us that opportunity just to have a little think about things and breathe and think about things that we haven't had time to. And one thing I did think about was the fact that, you know, we all as humans, we want to belong somewhere. And so as an adopted person, that it's made me think, oh gosh, did I choose theatre because I'm looking for somewhere to belong?
Right.
It made me think about that, because it is a massive community, almost like a big family. I mean, yes, of course, I had the God-given talent. No, I'm joking. Obviously, you've got to have a little passion. I mean, you've got to have some kind of ability and some kind of passion behind it. So I didn't just pluck it out of thin air, but I wonder if that, once I started at the children's theatre groups and the youth theatre groups and the acting school groups and you know, all those kind of lessons and found that community, I wonder if I was like, oh my goodness, I found this place and I belong here. So if you think about it like that, then yes, this has impacted me as an adopted adult, because one of the places I belong, I can't get to. So I mean, it's hard anyway, but yes, I wonder if it's harder because, you know, that is a place where I belong. And suddenly I'm cut off from it. So like I say, other people who work in different sectors maybe have been able to work from home, set up an office there or whatnot, or have been able to keep working somehow, but we haven't. So I just, I wonder. It has been, that has been hard. It's not just losing our livelihoods and our job and our purpose, it's losing our family and community, a place where we belong. So like an extended family. So that has been really hard. But I don't know if that's, I'd have to speak to some of my friends who are not adopted to say
see if the same.
Have you found that as hard, or is that just something that's affected me more because I really cherish that family vibe and that tribe and that gang and that support?
And I mean, so clearly neither of us live where we were brought up. You live in London, I live in Ireland. So I kind of get you on that a little bit, not the same, but a little bit. And I guess, has that had an impact on you, not being able to just shoot home for a weekend?
Absolutely. I mean, I did go home at one point when we could. And thank goodness I did. I think I went home for my mum's birthday when we were allowed, and thank goodness I did, because then after that, so I think that was last August. So the last time I had my hair done was August. Last time I saw my mum and my family was last August. I mean, honestly, they've got a production of 101 Dalmatians in it's actually been put on hold for a bit longer now. But I mean, I could play Cruella de Vil without the wig.
Well, I'm going to just say one thing, and some people will know who this is. Michelle Visage would get it first. That's all I'm saying. All right, we're not going to talk about that until later on. But she is. She's got much more of a Malin streak than you have. But then I think hers may be a little bit. It may be added some of it. Let's just say that.
Yeah, listen, there's a decision to be made. I mean, there's a colleague of mine who has let hers go out grey, and it's absolutely
really?
Stunning. Oh, it's stunning. And she's keeping it now, but I'm not keeping it. I mean, I do have a little box. I've got a little box in the bathroom. I didn't have time, Scott, because funnily enough, after having no work for months and months and months, this week has been bonkersly busy.
Rammed.
It's been really rammed with an online musical workshop. and I've got a gig as well, a charity gig. Like I'm super busy this week, so I do have a box in the bathroom that I would have put on. But also, I didn't know I was going to be on camera. I thought a podcast was just audio.
I know. Maybe should have put that in the initial request. Sorry, you really need to have a word with your agent about that.
I'll forgive you because you're my old pal. I can't remember what we were saying. I think it was about going up the road to Scotland. But
yeah, it was. Yeah,
I can't wait to go back because the hardest bit was Christmas. To be honest with you, I mean, I love Christmas and I love seeing my family and ironically, I'm more often than not working at Christmas and can't get home.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
So ironically, the 1 year I'm not working and I'm free to go home.
I couldn't get there.
So we'd actually already made the decision that it wasn't the sensible thing to do when they actually then went, no, and the whole thing about letting people out for a few days, I'm not really sure that was the best plan. I do know people that got sick after that, and I actually do know a family member of a friend who passed away, I think, because of that period. So it's, But so last August was the last time. And as soon as it's safe to do so, I'll go up there, You'll
be there. Yeah. I have to admit, I feel a bit the same because I did venture when I could, just to be clear, in case anybody starts writing and complaining, because obviously we're on two different kind of timelines with the two different countries. So as soon as it was almost allowed to go, that was it. I was going to Scotland to see my auntie because she's a little bit older. She's the only person in Scotland that I would visit. So I went there, spent a couple of days with her, and went to see my mum because you just don't know, do you? That's the thing. It just kind of makes you a lot more aware of what life is. Yeah,
I hear you.
Yeah, and it's just shocking the fact that clearly I live here for a reason, but actually I'm now limited in seeing friends and family as a result. And I'm not going to.
I mean, to be honest with you, at the moment we could all live anywhere because we're not actually living. We're all just in our little boxes, so we actually could be kind of anywhere.
So, I have, I'm just going to do this. I was going to ask you, but I thought you'd tell me off. I just wanted to put something on the screen here to show you.
Oh no, what are you doing?
Look at your face.
You're going to be in trouble.
I know. I don't care, to be honest. Nobody's paying me, so why should I bother?
And also, I can't do anything about it because...
No, you can't, can you?
It's happening right in front of my eyes.
It is.
I have no idea what you're doing right now. I'll just talk to myself while I wait. The suspense is killing me.
Is it? It might not even work, to be fair. So.
What are you doing?
No, it's not going to work. Oh, damn. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, for goodness sake. Honestly, Mr. Coates, if you were here, I'd be killing you. Right, okay, it's not going to work. I was going to just show an image that I had of us as young people, but it can't come up. You'll be pleased to know. But then you didn't have grey hair then, so...
Oh, listen, I really want you to show that. I want to see it.
I wish there was a way of getting it up. Seriously.
Oh, you'll have to put it later and put it on Twitter or something.
Yeah, no, it's been there before, believe me. No, it's not been on Twitter, actually. It's been on Facebook.
Put it back out later if you can't get it now. Anyway.
Yeah,
I can't remember what we were talking about.
No, so back to the virus.
What virus?
I know, yeah. I like your I'm going to use that as a hashtag now. I'm going to use it #CoronaSister. I think
come on.
I think you've missed a trick there. You could have been earning money from that. You could have patented it.
It is. I didn't coin it. I nicked it from someone else. I think it's a long time ago, like probably during Lockdown Hun. I was riding that Corona coaster and I'm still riding it.
Dearie me. It's horrid, isn't it? Absolutely horrid. So in terms of the future, you've mentioned it a little bit because obviously you're hopeful. Do you? Because like theatres and stuff have really invested a lot of money, haven't they? I mean, I've seen images. Bearing in mind, they could just be images that have been shown on certain news channels of theatres that have really adjusted the way they're working. They've removed seats. They've put like circular kind of things around stages and all that sort of stuff. And is that the reality of it, or is that just news?
Well, I mean, I haven't seen them all, but for example, the National, where I was working, the Olivier Theatre within the National, which is where the play I was doing was going to be, they completely have transformed that so that it can host socially distanced audiences. So yes, a lot of money has been spent to adapt to that. And they're actually, yes, that's going to stay for a while. So I think whereas maybe we were thinking little temporary measures, I think actually these temporary measures will now last a bit longer. And it's a really tricky one to negotiate because financially the model for shows it doesn't really work. The amount of tickets that you have to sell, it doesn't really work to have the socially distanced version. So I think that it is all going to change a bit. Things are going to change. And I wonder as well, because so many venues and companies have adapted to give online offerings, I wonder if as we start to come out of this and for the future, there will be some kind of hybrid between online and live. So I actually said this way back during Lockdown 1. I said, why can't they have a socially distanced theatre? So like take out some of the seats and adapt it for that, and also sell online tickets for people that can't get there. And also it makes it more accessible because it can be a bit of a cheaper option because, theatre tickets can be quite pricey. By the time you've bought for a family of 4 and your dinner at Pizza Express and your hotel and your transport and everything, it can be a really pricey affair. So I wonder if the future will contain a hybrid of online and live in person. So the play would actually be happening live, and some people would be in the audience, socially distanced, but you would also have the audience at home online. Which opens it out to people that can't get there. It's more accessible. It keeps the revenue streams coming in. So it is more affordable because it's not affordable just to have socially distanced theatres.
It wouldn't be for the theatres. It's not
financially viable. So when they were chatting that about at the start, it was like, well, it's not financially viable. It just can't happen. It's impossible. So I just wonder what it's going to look like going forward. And I think it will involve online and live in person.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Which is kind of cool that it has opened up this extra. I don't think you can replace live theatre. So I've watched a lot of online content to keep in touch with my industry and for some escapism and to enjoy some culture and art because we need it. I've watched quite a bit. And I've watched it develop from, first lockdown to now, and it's incredible what people have done. But you cannot beat live in-person theatre, the atmosphere, the buzz that you get from the live performance. You can't beat it. So it needs to come back. But I think it'll be a while until it comes back full capacity, bam, in your face. I think we'll have to kind of ease our way into it.
Yeah. I think that's a really interesting concept because I think that even when the first lockdown kind of relaxed a little bit, people were still kind of continuing on trying to do a few things online. So as an example, in the sector, social workers, etc., there were less maybe going into work and doing more things online and stuff like that. Personally speaking, I kind of went, oh no, I'm a technophobe. No, I'd just rather not, kind of thing. But I can see the appeal to it. But also I can see, I, like Al and I talk about things that we're doing and what have you, and I would just prefer to sit in front of him and chat to him, rather than kind of be restricted by a 15-minute window that I've got in his calendar because he's just such a busy man. And it must feel the same if yes, it's fine to watch on a screen or a telly, but there's nothing like the live kind of being there
No.
You know, actually experiencing other people as well. And I was going to ask you about that because you've done some stuff online. Has that felt the same?
No, absolutely not. No, you can't beat it. You can't beat live theatre.
There's no reaction, is there? I mean, I don't know how you do it, but like I know when we've done stuff on Zoom for the podcast, when we've done some of our conference and training and stuff like that, like because we're presenting, there's chatter, but it's not like applause. I'm not saying that we would expect applause, but you know what I'm saying? It's you're not getting those questions, you're not getting the initial feedback, you're not getting smiles, you're not getting the laughter. Is that the same?
It's not the same. It can't be the same.
Yeah.
No, so we do need live events back. Live theatre, live gigs, festivals. We need it all back. And like you say, conferences, everything. You can't beat it. But I do think that probably in most sectors there'll be a hybrid. And I think that I think there'll be a lot of working from home that continues, you know, because people have gone, oh, we don't actually need to go into the building. We could just have half the people at home and half in the building, have a smaller building. I think it's going to change a lot.
Yeah.
Live theatre, it can't change. The only way live theatre works is live.
To be live, to be there, live. To be experiencing it.
Yeah, exactly. I keep saying live but there's lots of different words for it now. So it's live in person.
Yeah.
You can't have live on Zoom and live in person events. They do need to come back. We need that. We need that human interaction. Like, I mean, we've just had no human interaction, or very little interaction, you know. And it needs to come back.
It does. I mean, I admit to watching the videos I have of various things that I've done where a couple of weeks ago, actually, Jacob's, I won't say where or what you were doing at the time, but we came down and saw you in London, and you managed to get him on the stage where he could belt out a little number, and that came up, and it was just like this feeling of, you know, that's a proper theatre. Like there's people.
Why are you not allowed to say what it was?
Oh, I don't know. Well, I wasn't at the time, but am I allowed to say now?
No. It's just like for copyright. You're not supposed to.
Oh, okay.
Yes, Mamma Mia.
Yeah, when you were playing Donna in Mamma Mia.
He was allowed up on the stage for 5 minutes. Yeah, that's fine.
And that was like 6 years ago now. But just seeing that on my memories on my camera was like on my phone, my camera, my.
Well, our phones are our camera now.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's just ridiculous. Okay, so we're nearly at the end of our time. Is there anything? I know it has. Yeah. I have to say, even though your hair, you may think your hair is needing work. I'm loving this look on you. I can't see the grey, so it's good.
That's because I'm not close to the camera. But don't you think it just looks like it did when I was at school?
Yes, it does, actually. I mean, you're just missing a perm, in all fairness.
Well, but it's kind of like that. It's grown so much. So apart from the grey, I feel like it's just like it was when I was at high school, which for me is not cool.
Oh, if only I could bring up them photos on the share screen. No, they were from 1980 and 1985. That was the photographs I had. Yeah, I know. Anyway, so have you any like hints, tips, shares for anybody who may think that on top of all the coronavirus, on top of all the lockdown shizzle that they've experienced, there might just be one thing that you've experienced, you've found out about yourself, you've discovered for somebody else, you know, you've said you've done a course or two, like anything, any little nugget that you want to share before we go?
I think the main thing that I have learned about is mental health. So like I say, I did a mental health awareness course and a first aid course, both for youth and adults. And I think initially the main thing is to understand one's own mental health, so that then you're able to help other people. So yeah, that's been a massively useful thing for me to do. I've always been interested in it anyway, but to use that time to further my knowledge, so that then I can help myself, so I can help other people. You know. So yeah, all that awareness,
well, of course we do. Yeah.
All that knowledge and awareness has been paramount and will be paramount throughout the rest of my life in everywhere that I need to use it. But yeah, I think the main thing I've learned over this whole time is how important self-care is. So whereas before I thought self-care is just taking a bubble bath and being a bit selfish,
yes,
and having a bath, it's not. It's so important, and especially during this really challenging time we've had, it's important just to take some time for yourself, just to fill yourself back up, so that then you can be of use to other people. Put your own mask on before you help others, kind of thing. And like RuPaul says, was it, if you can't love yourself, how the hell are you going to love anyone else? That kind of thing. Yeah, I think that's kind of the main thing I'm going to take away from this whole period.
And I love, like, put your own mask on first. And
Yeah.
that's going to be so ironic when we get on the next aeroplane, isn't it? Put your own mask on before you help anybody else. So you just mentioned RuPaul there. Sorry, I'll flick back a little bit. Natalie Taylor. I
saw.
Yeah. Now known as Natalie Todd. Hello to you both. Looking good. Yes, we are, darling. Thank you very much. Just moving on quickly. You mentioned RuPaul there, and I asked you earlier, are you a fan? So I'm going to just ask the question. Lawrence Chaney or Ellie Diamond?
Oh, that's controversial.
That's cruel. That's cruel.
Well, so I love them both. Am I allowed to say
I'm
that?
the same. I'm
love
the
them both.
absolute same.
Yeah. So I'll just
especially, actually, more Ellie Diamond in some ways, because obviously she's more close to us, Dundee.
Geographically.
Whereas Lawrence Chaney is geographically Glasgow, and we're East Coast, that's West Coast.
I know, East and West. I wanted Lawrence to win. I wanted Lawrence to win. But I love Ellie. I think
both amazing.
For a 21-year-old,
I know,
smashing what she's smashing. Oh my goodness! Like, she's got the whole world ahead of her. I think she's incredible. And like you say, she's from somewhere that's quite close to us, which is lovely. Yeah. But I did want Lawrence to win. I love Lawrence. Yeah. And I love how much Rue loves Lawrence.
I know. It was just like
Lawrence Chaney.
Yeah. But I also liked when Ellie Diamond said, sorry if you're listening and you're probably going, what the hell is RuPaul's Drag Race UK? But
RuPaul's Drag Race podcast.
Yeah, I know, they're like this. When Ellie Diamond challenged RuPaul about why she said Lawrence Chaney and she didn't say Ellie Diamond kind of thing. So it was quite good. Well, I'm pleased we're on the same page on that one, because, yes, I mean, it was only last week. For anybody who hasn't seen it, you really, if you like that sort of thing, then catch up on it.
Yeah, I hope we've not given away any spoilers by this late stage.
A week later, I doubt it.
Yeah, I think we're all right.
Exactly. Shona, thank you so much for joining me tonight. Welcome. It's been a pleasure. It's been great to catch up. I wish I could have shared our childhood first primary one photograph, but I couldn't. We'll put it on Twitter.
Put it on socials after.
I'm definitely going to.
I don't mind.
I thought you'd go mental, actually. I don't know why. And I can't wait till the time when we're all in the same room again. And Jacob, bless him, I said, I'm speaking to Shona tonight. He went, I've got so much to tell her. And I was like,
send him my love.
Yeah,
send
exactly.
my love. And yeah. One day soon.
One day more.
Oh, staging.